My mom, I got punished so bad. I got spanked, I got like grounded. The little girls that I could. So the little girl's parents like repointed their car. She told me I could write my name on it. I was like, okay, and I was like,
I've never won anything. I don't know what it meant.
and
Okay,
then
so
like
there's a
the
bunch of
mom
dollar bills
came
here
over
and
and
there's
told
also
me.
$100. So you get one.
Do you have a problem?
Yeah, one bill out of that.
And then my mom like defending me like,
How do you know?
it was her. Well,
That's
it's her
not
name.
funny.
And my mom would like paper size, right? No, like the whole car door.
Oh, thanks.
There was the- Okay, well, don't
How
tell
old were you?
I was close.
I think it was
Thank you for the dollar.
That's understandable. That makes
like, I
complete
probably put my
sense.
name everywhere.
Put something on the board for the.
Look, I can write my own name.
Sure. I feel like because they thought it came with it, they probably were telling me, oh, girl, like, you know, maybe you should handle it. Maybe they were like, you know, letting us help car, like, whatever.
Does everyone here know Adam Fenske from Premium?
I do.
Yes. Yeah.
You know him yet? No.
Super nice.
He's nice. He's got really good energy. I always like that. He's like feisty and frisky and vocal and younger guy. Nice. Yeah. So, okay, welcome to June's office meeting. We'll go over the awards for May. And I really didn't have anything planned in lieu of education. Adam Fenske is just gonna have the whole show. So if he's not here just yet, we can go over it. But welcome to the meeting. Are we on record?
Yep, we're recording.
Okay, the highest price listing for the month of May goes to Rachel. Congratulations. His first listing at Nickel City goes to Walter.
Wait.
The land, was it the land?
I already got this.
You got another one?
No, my land was my first list.
Was that in?
That's my first.
I know, it's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I know, it's like, I think we decided that, like, this is like the
Yeah,
actual.
That's it.
Yeah.
No.
Just kidding.
Most listings in May went to Preview and Rachel, crushing it. Keeping the momentum too. First closing at Middle City, David. And then first contract at Middle City goes to Sean Smith.
I don't think I met him. He's been in a lot. He's been here working a lot.
A Welcome Home Award. So the most closings in the month of May goes to Derek. And Creative Marketing Award, that would like to talk about this one.
This one goes to Kelly this month. So
Your face.
I know, well, you had a few things that were kind of very creative. So you don't think your things were creative? I'll show everyone. I'll show everyone and think they, and see if they agree.
I don't know.
So let me see if this, I don't know, it's gonna open on this computer. I'll show you all in the banner. I know, there were so many cute things that you had.
Yeah, you were busy.
I don't know, this computer's running a little slow at the moment, so I don't know why it's not. Come on.
I think the key is keyword.
Over and over and over again.
It's because it's on a Mac.
Well, I'm not gonna do that because our Zoom meeting will cut off.
I'm just kidding.
It's probably because of the
I
Zoom.
downloaded.
Yeah, it's probably because of the Zoom meeting, so let's just wait till these download, I guess.
Okay.
Do you want to announce the other ones so they?
We'll go to the Customer Service Award. Rachel is a pleasure to work with. She is professional, knowledgeable. She is the reason our offer was accepted on the first house we bid on. We worked with her twice. My in-laws have worked with her, and I would highly recommend it to anyone looking to buy or sell a home. Thanks for everything, Rachel.
Those are the people that moved away and I couldn't find jobs.
Oh, wow.
Was the nanny.
Oh, you can see them.
Oh, really?
That was quick.
So
It
you know
was
what, too, customer service award, like years and years ago, right out of college, when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we used to call it, like, you used to try to wow the customers. Because like, you think about like maybe 20 customers you work with. Out of 20, maybe one will say something, like your boss or write a review. So like, we used to try to go above and beyond to like wow every customer, and those statistics are like 50% of people.
What's up, guys? How are you? Good to see everyone. How are
You
you?
can get down over here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You guys hungry or something?
I'm sure they
are.
It worked out, it worked. And then this is one in the same person, agent of the month, and have $1 million month.
You didn't know?
I did have a couple big.
Yeah, millions.
Wow.
Nice job, Julie.
Highest production as well.
You have, yeah, what was your, the double or the four unit?
The
44 unit.
I had a client who just got under contract for 600,000. And then now they're gonna sell the house in Orchard Park, which is a 3-1 double, but I'm trying to market it as an in-law setup.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet, but it's in Orchard Park, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. Well,
So Erin, I just want to go over the marketing that Kelly won her award for. So she did these riders to put on the toppers of her signs, which are adorable. You know, Kelly is our dog loving friend that helps with dog rescues. So we did this one topper. We helped a rescue dog find a home because she gives a donation for with every sale of a home. And then there was one more, your dog will love this yard. That's adorable.
Oh, that's cute.
Cute, creative, awesome. And then she also did a banner. Did you partner with some, you partnered with
Good Deeds.
Good Deeds Buffalo, and she did this banner, which is sadly didn't work out exactly the way you want. What
Well, it
happened?
was supposed to be in the Pride Parade. The day before the parade, I called Jordan, who's the CEO of Good Deeds Buffalo, and I said, hey, I want to come down tomorrow before the parade and do a live video and do some pictures. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, the guy that was supposed to drive the truck and the trailer flaked out on me 3 days ago. And I'm like, and you were gonna tell me
Never.
when?
Yeah,
Right?
beautiful
So-
banner printed.
Right, I bought a banner and had it ready, but he's also doing, he's running the Gay Alliance of Western New York Blood Drive at the Western New York American Red Cross, at the end of this month, so he's putting my banner up there.
Oh,
so
So
you got
I'll
that-
still be the sponsor of the blood drive and not the Pride Parade.
That's nice.
So I'm
But
really
you got
still
this
working
like a
on
huge banner? then?
It was
Yeah,
it's a giant 4-foot banner supposed to be
I
in the
would have
Pride
gone down
Parade,
there and walked
Very
that
cool.
with you.
right?
Extra call.
We should just walk down the street
I
and carry the
know.
banner, but it's still gonna get used at the blood drive, so I'll be sponsoring the blood drive.
Awesome.
All right,
I love it.
Yeah.
nice work.
And then everyone.
We're on a Zoom also. I don't know if anyone's gonna hop in, but.
To talk about mortgages.
Yeah, so-
Marketing and.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing I wanted to talk to you guys today was about our marketing, which is, this was a good segue with the banner and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, in terms of like, mortgages and stuff like that, there's a few things that we do that I think differentiate us from other lenders and stuff like that. The first thing we do is the second opinion, right? So that if you guys have had somebody pre-approved with somebody else, if it's Rocket, say, or something like that, and you want to get away from them, we do the second opinion where basically we'll take all their information, run it, see if we can get them pre-approved or get them in a better situation, because possibly maybe they'll get more offers accepted if they're using a local lender, and we give them $100 as a gift. So, and that's just for having their information run by for a second opinion. There's no risk to them, and especially if they've had their credit run recently within like the last couple of weeks, it's not going to count as another inquiry on the credit report if we run their information.
What's the limit on that? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month? before
So
they
that's
keep getting dinged?
It's a great question. So technically the rule, if you were to look it up, is called 45-day rule. But depending on certain entities like that run it, it can be as short as 14 days. So I'm just telling people 14 days to be safe, and then letting them know if it's past that time, they can still have it done. It's just, it may or may not, hit them with another inquiry. But yeah, if you were to search it, it says 45 days. But then if you read the fine print, it does say that depending on the lender and the entity, that it could be anywhere from 14 to 45 days. So there's kind of a gray
So like
area
every
there.
company could be different.
Yes, but the minimum would be 14. So it's just kind of a weird gray area. So, to be safe, I'm telling people 14 days.
So they're shopping, like they should be shopping all at the same time and not like
Right.
one and then decide like a week later another, like you should all be at the same week.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the huge thing. Like, they put that in place, years back because one of the big issues is that, people were feeling kind of locked into whatever lender they initially went through. And the reason being was because they didn't want to obviously have their credit hit multiple different times, like similar to when you go for a car, they just, they run it 15 different places with your credit information. So yeah, that was the whole reason for it. But yeah, so I typically tell people if they are, shopping, make sure they do it right away. So they're not risking that, you know what I mean? And along with that, I mean, we'll actually run all their information through all of our programs and see, which one's going to be most beneficial to them. Typically what I try to do when I'm running people's information is I give them multiple options. I explain to them why each option would be beneficial to them, what the pros and what the cons would be of each one of them. Because not everybody's a slam dunk, 20% down, easy client. There's sometimes multiple different programs that are going to work best for them. So yeah, but that second opinion has been something that's been big for us, and we usually retain a lot of those people because of it. So that's one thing we do. Obviously, also we have the Quick Qual app, which has anybody here not used the Quick Qual app or seen it? You've never seen it? Okay, so basically what it is it's an app. Once your client gets pre-approved, we send them an email with a link to their own app that they can save on their phone, along with their own 4-digit PIN, which they can actually change later down the line if they want to make it a different PIN. And basically what that does is I set maximums on there. So say maybe they're qualified up to a $2,000 a month payment and they have $20,000 to spend, right? What they can do is before they go look at a house, they can literally put in the sale price or wherever they want to offer on the house, and then the taxes, and it will tell them what their payments will be. It'll tell them exactly how much cash they'll need to close, and it will tell them if they qualify for that or not. And if it doesn't, it'll tell them why. It'll be like you're exceeding cash to close, or you're exceeding maximum monthly payments, so contact the loan officer. But the beautiful thing about it is that allows you the ability to print your own pre-qualification letters, whether you're the client or the agent, because the agent gets one as well. And you can print those on the fly. So say it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you need an offer in by 8 a.m. or something crazy like that. You can literally print it there and it will cater it directly to that house, so you don't have to, wait and get a separate one. And as an agent, like I said, you'll get your own login and everything like that. And then it acts as a CRM for you. So like any client you have with Premium, they'll all be listed in there under your name as long as you're attached to it. So you'll be able to at any time, go through and look at, whichever clients you want to that are with us. So that, what's that?
I said I had an argument with that app.
Did you,
I don't know, we just weren't getting along.
you and the app weren't getting along?
So
Why?
maybe one day I'll have to like go through it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having issues with it, like for sure, let one of us know. I mean, we are all pretty, we use it on a daily basis. We're more than willing to help you out, looking through it. We are making some changes to our, like our apply now thing, where basically people can apply either through our business card or through our email signatures. That's going to be changing so that it gets a little bit more information from people, so that we can kind of narrow down really what they're looking for before, we run the credit and everything like that. And it will get their credit authorization at that point, so that we don't have to send another follow-up for that. So that's another thing that we have been working on. And then what I gave you all you guys is our marketing services. So I think Walter, you can speak to this. We're doing this right now, all the different marketing stuff that we're doing. So this basically just gives you, it's a 2-page, document that basically shows you all the different marketing services we can do for you. That's why I was interested in, the banner that you had done, because that's super nice banner. And like, yeah, we do all kinds of things like that, and we'll cut the cost of that with you because we share the cost with you. Yeah, so it's split 50-50, and it's co-branded with a loan officer from us, and those types of things can obviously benefit you, tenfold. It depends on what you want to do. You can do EDDMs, like so the Every Door Directs. We can do postcards. We can do just regular flyers like this that you can take wherever you want. We do door hangers, which Walter's doing right now. So there's really no limits to how much marketing stuff we can do. And if you're ever interested in getting some of that stuff going, let me know, and I can actually have you meet with our marketing. He'll do like a Zoom thing, so you don't actually have to come in. Most things are done by Zoom now, So like he can do a Zoom call with you that basically shows our entire portfolio of all the marketing stuff we do, and it's like a 25-minute, so.
Yeah, I want to set that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy and it's way nicer now because like I said, it's Zoom and you can do it from anywhere. He used to like have to set up an appointment and come to Buffalo because he's based out of Rochester. This makes it so much easier, and it's basically a slideshow, and he takes you step by step through each item that you can do. And if I were to sit here and start naming off things that we can do, I'd be here all day. Like there is no limit to basically what we can do, whether it's print, digital, or mailers. Like we can do all of that stuff. So, I definitely encourage you to link up, with a loan officer from Premium and see what you can do to get yourself, more marketed out there and have some of that cost paid for. A lot of the stuff's free, like your regular flyers and all that kind of stuff, anything print, door hangers, like all that kind of stuff, but you get into costs when you start sending mail stuff, because we have to pay for the postage, obviously. But yeah, aside from that, really nothing. And then you can also get like custom promotional items, which are on here. So like say you want to get something on, coffee mugs, or say you want shirts done up with the logo on it. Coolers, we get people that do coolers, a lot. I mean, all that kind of stuff that you can get done, we can help you do. And it's basically what'll happen is once you kind of decide on something you want to do, you would send us like what your idea is, right? So be like, I want to kind of do something like this with this kind of background that says this. And then what happens is we have our own marketing team that will then, go through it and draw up proofs for you and send it to you. So nothing gets printed until you sign off on it. So once you get that proof, you say, okay, I like this, I don't like this, I want this changed, can we do this or that? And you basically, once we all settle on everything, you accept the final proof, and then we'll put it to print or whatever it is. So,
I don't have a turnaround time, like, for example, like sometimes you get listing paperwork, say it's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna list that Friday. Deb gets my flyer done on Tuesday.
Yep.
How can I?
Well, so
what's the flow for the EDM to get it out?
oh, for the EDMs, so usually that's like 48 to 72 hours. So like what we usually try to tell people is like the quicker you can get us the MLS information, the better. We have people that will actually go like pre-MLS listing and get us as many details as they can, so that once it hits the MLS.
So like
you
you
can
could
send it
design a
out.
whole entire flyer where I don't even have to do the stuff with that.
Yeah, or you can still use me to do it, and because I worked with Premium and
Yeah,
and I
that's
can
done
do the
fine.
same way as, we usually do it where I can design your side and send it over to Premium, and then they add their side to, and get it
And
out.
that would only just speed up the process, so the only real thing that you're waiting on there is figuring out all the different zip codes that you want to send everything to in the streets, and getting all the postage stuff done.
Okay.
And what
Do you
happens
guys
is,
take it to the post office or do I?
that's the only thing we don't do. So we will prepay everything for you. You just have to pick it up and take it to that post office.
Okay.
So like if it's Lancaster Post
Yeah.
Office, you'll take it there. But we'll let you know as soon as it's done, prepay everything for you. So literally you just walk in and drop it off. It's as simple as that.
I'm doing that, a little bit with Supreme, but
Yeah.
I need,
Yeah, it's super helpful. I mean, but the problem has been in the last couple of, year and a half, right, at least, is that like half these houses are going to market, they're selling right away. So, sending out mailers and stuff like that, there's not a ton of benefit, hasn't been a ton of benefit to that. But I think, from what I'm seeing, and I'm not an agent like you guys are, but it seems like there's a little bit of a shift happening. That might be more important now than ever. The other thing that a lot of people do is the just solds. So that comes in more handy, obviously, if you're trying to farm a certain area. Say it's like you just sold a house in East Aurora and you're like, I want to farm that area. You can send out a flyer to them in an EDM. It's literally like this. So it's like really nice paper. It's double-sided and it has, whatever colors and stuff you want to do. It's not folded up and tossed in the mailbox. It actually comes to them like this.
or the postcard, right?
Or you can do the postcard. Postcard is just a little bit more costly.
Right.
But the EDMs is the cheapest, quickest way to hit as many areas as you want. So like I said, they'll get like a real nice sheet in there, and you can basically say, hey, listen, I've sold a house in your area for X over asking, or whatever it is, or we closed in a certain amount of days, that kind of thing. So that one has been something that I guess over the last year and a half has been more frequent because, like I said, you know, people are we're selling houses so quick, we didn't even have a chance to send stuff out before it was like hitting the market sold, you know? So, but yeah, like I said, there's really no end to what stuff we can do. And if you have an idea that's like not listed on there, or if you sit through that Zoom meeting with Gerald Swanson, who's our marketing director, and you think of something that he didn't go over, we're all in to do it. Like, we're all in for new ideas, new things that we can help you code in.
You guys
First of
always,
all.
Premium's marketing department is always my
Yeah,
favorite. Clever.
they're good people. Yeah, I mean, we thankfully, you know, the hard part about the marketing department is getting people like that are reliable, that are kind of on the level of what we need them to be. Like, so we started with a couple people that were really, really good, and then we kind of went through times where there was like a couple marketing people that were under them that just really weren't as on top of their stuff, or their designs weren't as good. And now I feel like we've really hit a place where it's like such a good stride that we're in, because everybody's kind of on the same page. And we keep spending more money, hiring more people to make sure our marketing department's top notch. So, and I know Deb's amazing in her marketing too, so I'm not taking anything away from her.
No, it just
She's
kind
like,
of,
"Hey, I take it, I got a lot to do."
no, I
I, the one more damn dog rider.
no, I
I'm
told
doing
you
all
I
that
did.
stuff, seriously, but Premium is like a good help as far as like, just because they know what they're doing. If they
Yeah.
send something over, it doesn't have to be, there's no complications, it's
Right.
just very seamless.
And we're like a distribution center almost for you,
Yeah.
right? So we help distribute the things that you come up with.
Yeah.
Like Deb can definitely come up with the flyer and say, this is what I want it to look like. You know, we'll send it over, put what we need to on it legally, and then send you the proof.
I know, and then in the past, I think I've sent over templates,
Yep.
like InDesign templates, like we have for you, and they'll actually put the listing information into their own template. Or
Which would be even more helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I can still do it for you, but if I'm completely swamped or something, then it is a backup that they can do it too.
I cancel this in 2 days.
And I'm used to that. I'm used to that. Yeah, because with Rachel, she has a process where she like would immediately, like when something's listed,
Yeah.
she warns me like a couple days ahead, this is getting listed on
Yep.
Tuesday, grab all the photos or sends me the photos.
That's
and
what we ask for, yeah.
I put that flyer together right away so that the day that it's listed, it's basically sent to print and the EDM is sent out right away.
And that's
Just
basically.
because they
what
sell
I'm saying.
so fast.
Yeah, I mean, if you, because like I said, we do have people that do that, like, so if you can do that, we can get stuff ready for you, so it can be sent out when it hits the MLS or whatever it is.
Okay.
That would actually be super beneficial if we could do that.
Marketing questions, I have their questions.
Yeah, letter questions.
We have a whole booklet of like all of this stuff, so
Yeah.
we have a couple copies left in our, the room there, if you want to see even more of the ideas. But these are kind of the most popular. on the sheet.
Yeah, that's basically what this is just the most popular. Like I said, if something on here catches your eye, if you want to know more about like other stuff that we do, it's just good to set up that Zoom call with Gerald, and like I said, you'll be like kind of at the end of it, you'll know full scope, you know, what you're looking at. So, any other marketing questions before I start taking lender questions? Okay. Lender questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the rise of interest rates.
Yeah.
What are you seeing happening with the clients that are coming in? That are more difficult to approve, like maybe they were FHA, are they now something, or like what's happening in the world of?
Well, I mean, so the biggest issue that we're finding is people that were previously qualified, that their pre-qualifications expired and now they're not qualifying
So
because.
what, so conventional or FHA or all of the above?
Well, yeah, all of the above. So obviously, in terms of qualifying, FHA is the most lenient, right? So if you have somebody that's got, FHA does not penalize you for a sub 700 credit score. They don't penalize
Subset means what?
sub 700.
So lower.
Yeah. So like, so in the 600s, like you can get somebody to have a decent rate with a 660 credit score. Whereas conventional is going to whack you with the interest rate if you drop under 7. So the FHA loan is usually the most lenient in terms of not only just that, but debt to income ratio. So if you have somebody that was conventional before that maybe doesn't qualify anymore because that rate bumped up their debt to income ratio, we can see if FHA fits them.
And it's what, over 53%?
Yeah, so FHA, well, conventional, you're 50%, right? And then FHA, you can technically go up to like 56%, but it depends on each person's scenario. The lower from, the more under 56% you are, the better position you're gonna be in. But yeah, I mean, that's the max we've seen it spin through Fannie. So yeah, I mean, we've seen issues with all the different, loans, but that's why it's important if you have somebody that's been pre-approved, like even before April or up to April, make sure they're reaching out to whoever the lender is, not just us, whoever it is, and having them rerun those numbers, because, before April, like March, we still had 4% rates, and then everything kind of, jumped up. So that's the bigger issue that I guess we're finding. But people that come in now, that's not the issue, because we kind of know these lower rates are going to be at least, for the,
Which is what, the 5.5?
yeah, like 5.5. I mean, yesterday I was getting 5.25 on FHA rates. And depending on what people are putting down with their credits, like, you might be able to get, lower. It seems.
Lower meaning 5.
Yes, yeah. So you're looking between like 5 and 5.5 at this point is typically what you're looking at. So new people that are coming in, I guess to answer your question, like people that were coming in before that might have been on that borderline conventional, they might have to go FHA now because of that higher debt to income based on the rates. But, now that we know the way the landscape is, we can prepare for it, right? Because before, when this all started, we started qualifying people at 7 because we're like, we don't know what's going to happen. The rates could go to 7%, like who knows, because it happened real fast. Well, now it seems to have leveled off, and they basically said, if anything, you'll see kind of a steady crawl, which is a lot better to hear versus a giant jump, which initially happened. So, I'm qualifying people at where the rates are now. I might, if they're on a borderline, I might, do it an eighth above just so that I know they have that room. But yeah, I mean, I've seen the products in general start to tighten up on their guidelines. And that started happening basically when the pandemic started, but like it's now filtering through even more because of the rate environment. But we did just see yesterday they came out with something saying that Fannie and Freddie is actually going to start drawing back to make things more. So one of the big issues they've had is with HMDA and stuff like that and RESPA, that there's been a lot of places, not us, but like other places that have been caught with discriminatory things where, certain ethnic backgrounds that are seemingly not being approved the same way that they should be. So what they're trying to do now is draw back a little bit on their guidelines so that they can make it easier for certain people to qualify. We don't have the full parameters of that, but that was just released 2 days ago in the news. So basically they said, Fannie and Freddie is going to make it easier for some people to qualify. That's not going to affect rates, but it may mean that they up their debt to income ratios a little bit.
Or they let cash underneath the mattress be accounted.
Right, that's one of the things, because, well, and the reason why I brought that up is because one of the issues was with people in different ethnic backgrounds. And, a lot of people that are in different ethnic backgrounds, they don't keep their money in the bank, so cash on hand is one thing they're going to be working on. Obviously their debt to income ratios and credit, right? So credit's another thing where they're going to try to make things easier with people with either lower credit or new credit, because that's another issue is that I've seen in the past, people could have a 740 credit score, but they only have 2 credit lines and they just opened in the last year, and it's not giving them an approval because it's saying your credit's too new. We don't trust that you can keep your credit like this over a long period of
Or
time.
what about like 1099 space, so like a two-year.
Yeah, that stuff, self-employed seems to be gonna be staying the same. It's gonna basically be more for people that, have lower histories of things, whether it be credit, work history, if you're W-2 or, salary. But again, we don't know the specifics, but this is going to be like a full-blown wave that Fannie and Freddie is going to be, you'll start seeing it more in the news soon. And then as we know, we'll let you guys know. One other thing that we're trying to utilize now is we have 2 different grants now that we give people, which is, one of them, it doesn't matter where you live, right? If you qualify under the income guideline, you're now going to get $2,000 from us. And that's going to basically, you have to be a first time home buyer, you have to be under the income guidelines. And then you'll get a $2,000 off closing costs from us just for that, right? There's a second grant that we have, which is based on the census tract. So it depends on where the house is located that they're buying. So essentially, like some parts of Buffalo and stuff like that, if it's in a lower moderate income census tract, if the house they're purchasing is in that census tract, they get the $2,000 off no matter what. They don't have to be a first-time home buyer. But the first-time home buyer one we just came out with literally like 2 weeks ago,
What
and
is an investment company? Will they still get that type of grant?
like an investment, like property.
What if they're- Yeah, what if they're buying like a
No,
double
so it has to be,
residential?
well, double is fine. Yeah, it has to be residential as long as it's their primary residence and their first-time home buyers for that one. And the other one, it doesn't matter at all. Like it could be a multifamily, as long as it's their primary residence. And they're in a low to moderate income census tract, which we will look up once the application comes in, they will qualify for that. So those are just some things that we're starting to do now, so we can help people with closing costs and stuff like that.
Okay, another question.
Yeah.
I put in an offer and the agent asked me if I would switch to premium because of the guarantee.
Cash guarantee.
No, talking about that.
Yeah, so the cash guarantee basically is a way for us to be able to, well, for you guys actually, to be able to present an offer that's same as cash, right? So basically what they do is these people, it takes them about 2 to 3 days to get qualified for it, but the client has to come to us. They have to be willing to put 20% down, okay? And they have to give that 20% to the seller up front. So whatever deal, whatever contract that they sign, they're basically getting their 20% down instead of to us. They're giving it to the seller as their earnest money good faith deposit. Okay. So, but once they sign that document, they have to buy that house. If they don't close on that house, the
Give up their
premium
money.
has to buy it, right? If they don't perform. Yeah. So
Repeat the whole thing.
yeah. So,
I know, I'm
No.
kind of lost.
so basically the way it works, right, is these people have to come in and get pre-qualified.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to meet a bunch of different guidelines. Their credit has to be like a 720, 740. They have to be good debt to income wise. They have to have, they have to show proof that they have at least 20% in plus reserves of cash to put into the transaction, right? Once they're qualified for this, they have to sign a document that basically says, any house that I get an offer accepted on using the cash guarantee, I have to present 20% down as the EMD to the sellers off the bat. If for whatever reason I don't perform, they lose their 20% EMD. The sellers get to keep that. And then premium has to
You
buy.
don't perform.
What's
We
that?
don't perform, I don't perform. Who's I?
The person buying.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they back out.
yeah. So they back out, they lose their 20%, but then premium has to purchase the house, same as cash.
So it's a win-win for the seller because their house is
Correct.
purchased in, they also
No
get the
matter what.
last person's.
So the sellers are basically getting a guarantee. It's the same as cash, right?
Okay.
So people are using that a lot now because, you know, obviously everybody wants a cash offer, right? But this is basically saying you're guaranteed one way or another, right? And the incentive for the buyer is they're not gonna back out because they don't wanna lose their 20% down, right? If it's a $200,000 house, they're gonna lose 40 grand.
Yeah.
Right? And they have to perform, so they basically have to perform.
So remember, right, when we're writing an offer, we write it as cash, you know, finance,
Mhm, That's
write
what
in a
people have been,
contract.
that's
Wait,
what
you
people
put
have
in
been
as
doing.
cash?
That's what people have been doing for agents, from what I've seen.
So
Yeah.
you skip the whole financing part though, and you check in the contract? No.
I can't tell you on what to do on the contract, but I know agents have been doing it basically same as cash. That's what they've been saying.
I had a company here about how do you write that.
Yeah, that I would know. See you later. But yeah, it's people are using it like crazy now. And we started doing this during, like in the last 6 months, we really started ramping it up because we had so many people that were losing deals to cash offers,
Yeah, I
obviously.
remember my mom said to her,
Yeah.
I forgot that one, but when she brought it up, I'm like, I didn't know if we needed that.
So people have to bring all their documents up front to get pre-qualified, so they have to bring W-2s, tax returns, everything. We have to run the numbers, make sure that what their max is that they qualify to. It has to go to an underwriter.
Right.
So an underwriter is going to, it's like a full-blown pre-approval. They look through all the documents and make sure that these people will qualify. If they qualify, we will issue that, basically like a pre-commitment for it. Then the buyers have to sign a letter which explains to them what they're, what they're agreeing to, yeah. So like saying that once you sign this contract, if the offer is accepted, you have to give them the 20% up front, and if for whatever reason you don't perform, then you lose that money. But we have to buy it. We just bought a house now in Rochester because we had a buyer that I don't know what happened. Something crazy in the family happened, and they ended up walking away from it. They lost 75 grand of their own money But we had to buy it because we
That's what you said. So then who do you give those deals to, who sells the house?
Premium sells them. So I don't know who, I don't know who they're giving it
I wanna
to.
be friends
I
with
know.
them.
I don't know what agent's getting them. This was in Rochester, so I don't know.
So
But
tell me where's that department?
well, that I gotta find out. I gotta get back to you on that.
Cool.
But yeah, the cash guarantee, I can send you guys literature on that if you want, so you can see.
So I can
what-
do it through you, this is if you're looking at the first, like, I can talk about that with
Yeah,
you.
you can send it to me too. and I can
That's what I'm saying, like, I'll
share
send you
it
the
afterwards.
details of it, like, so you can see what the qualifications are for people and basically what I just said, so like.
It's
these
good
people.
for seller agents to know too, because we could see what the terms of that.
Yeah. And we stand by it, it's just, that's why it's more of a rigorous process for them to get qualified for that, because it's like a full-blown pre-approval, and we have to see that they have the money in the bank liquid. So.
Are the rates higher for something
Nope,
like that? for
Same
that?
rates, same rates. The only thing they have to do is their their risk is that 20%, like, so essentially if you're signing that document and submitting that offer, if it were me, I wouldn't be walking out on a deal that I just gave 20% down upfront. That's non-refundable, it's non-refundable. I mean, that's the catch for the
So
buyer.
the biggest benefit to the buyer is that they can say they have a cash deal.
Yeah.
Which makes their option more desirable.
Yep, that's 100%.
That's a risk.
But it's a risk on their part too, because they need to perform, right? But that's why we send it through the full pre-approval process first, because we want to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that
Yeah.
barring something insane, like they take out $1 million credit card or whatever, we know the loan will get approved. You're pre-approved. But yeah, that's what people have been using now. We've been using it all crazy.
Are you finding that more people are getting those offers?
Oh, yeah, I mean, those loans are almost always accepted. Like I said, I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah. Send it out to everybody, but yeah, it's a great product and it's a way for a bank or a lender like us to say, well, we're gonna give you a loan, but you can offer basically cash, because at the same time, like, if for whatever reason you walk, we have to buy it.
Right, okay, two more questions. Can you do Florida?
Yeah, I can, I just got a license.
Woo,
Yeah.
okay. What about Carolina?
I can't personally in Carolina, but I think we have a guy, in Albany, one or two guys in Albany right now that are doing, the Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Florida would be great. I just got my license in Florida because my parents moved down there part of the year. And I had two buddies that moved down there from New York, and I'm now Florida agent. Plus, we just opened a Miami office and a Fort Myers office.
What is lending like down there versus here? I mean, if they're closing obviously a lot faster,
Yes, well, that's huge. That's obviously one of the better things.
closing in like a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's super fast because it's the title state, so there's no attorneys involved. It's basically just finish the paperwork, get the loan approval, and make it close. So yeah, closing down there is usually, at most 30 days, if not, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The closing down there are nice. Aside from that, I mean, rate wise, everything's gonna be the same. The fee structure is a little bit different because of their state fees versus ours, but it's not anything major.
Meaning like they'll still have, what fees would they have? The New York State fees or the Florida fees? Because they're.
Yeah, it'll be the Florida.
Or whatever.
Yeah, you mean if it's somebody from New York buying in Florida?
Right.
Yeah, they have to abide by the Florida fees. Yeah. Which most of them, in most situations, the Florida fees are actually less.
Right.
So New York State's always the worst.
Can you do anything for people who have like concessions? So like, instead of us putting up.
Set up concessions?
Yes.
Yeah, so it depends on who they are, like meaning like if they're a first-time home buyer or not. We have, I have a program that I'm working very closely with this neighborhood. Has anybody heard of Neighborhood Works?
Neighborhood work.
Yeah. You have,
Yeah.
so I'm working very closely with Neighborhood Works, and they will give you, as long as it's a first-time home buyer, they can prove that they qualify, they'll give you like 7,500 up to 20 grand towards closing costs. The only downside is the buyers have to pay it back, but they have to pay it back over 5 years.
So is that like a separate loan then?
Yeah, so it's like a second loan on top of the mortgage. It's a subordinate second lien. But it's because it's from a non-for-profit agency. Pretty much much every loan product can qualify along with that. So like I have like 3 or 4 people right now that are using that grant, and they're gonna be closing soon, and they're using $7,500, and the payment on that's like $150 a month. So basically what I tell people is when you're factoring in your payment monthly, just add that 150 to it. So if the payment's 1,100, your payment's 1,250, right? Even though you pay 2 separate people, but I have to qualify you with that payment to make sure you qualify anyways.
Right.
So, but yeah, we're using that a lot. The $2,000 grants that I was telling you about, we're doing that. And we can actually reserve people right now who qualify under the new $2,000 one, which means they're basically first-time home buyers and they make under the income limit. We can reserve those funds at pre-qualification for them, because that one does have a limited amount.
Right.
Which gets up to 2 times. What else? Oh, and then instead of concessions as well, there's the Sunny May loan. So the Sunny May loan comes with a down payment assistance loan, which is 3% of the purchase price. So, say somebody's buying a house for $200,000, they can get a $6,000 down payment assistance loan to pay for the closing costs. Through the Sunny May loan if they qualify for it. Now,
They don't have to put down anything.
yeah, so basically it's 97% loan, and then they get the 3% down payment assistance loan, so it's essentially 100% financing, and then they just have to pay the closing costs, taxes, and insurance.
But it's considered a conventional, though, correct?
Yes, it is. Yep. Sunny May is considered a conventional buyer. So if they do the decal, they don't have to repay that as long as they live in a house that gets up 5 or 10 years. But if they do sell the house, for instance, like within that time period, they can pay back out of proceeds at a prorated amount. So like every day they're in there, their balance goes down, it's down the amount of days. So, yeah, the Sunny May down payment assistance loan is very.
They could still sell the house in 5 to 10 years, but just have to pay back.
Yeah, so like when they pay off their mortgage, they'll just, the other part of the proceeds for that, say it's $6,000, whatever's left will get paid out of there. So,
It's on like your tax returns, like every year they
Yeah.
come, that's how you
Yep.
pay it back.
yep, they prorated it, and every single year they basically mark it as how much is over forward out. But so those things are really big. So instead of concessions, I'm using the neighborhood works grant. The only catch with the neighborhood works grant also is that other than them paying it back, is that it has to be the house purchased in either your Niagara County. So it won't work if it's like Chautauqua or something like that. I'm trying to think of what other things we're using.
I know, I'm running out of questions, but I think
Yeah, no, there's other things that we can use instead of concessions, but they'll be like town related. So I mean, like if there's certain grants we have, like Hamburg had one.
Cheapwater's got one now.
Cheapwater does have one now. So those can all be used too. We just need to keep.
What was the one in Cheektowaga?
So that one, the one I knew of in Cheektowaga was like $5,000. So I don't know. if
Hamburg
it's the
was
same.
10 still.
Hamburg is 10, yep.
So how do they apply for those? They have to go through the town?
Yeah, so they would basically either contact the town, or some of those places, some of the towns do have them on their website that you can apply through, and then you just have to,
Where's your post those?
There is a link on the forum with all
with all the different grants.
not with the grants, with the one website that has like all the different towns on the
Yeah.
cover. I'll tag you in Rachel.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of options, but just depends on the situation. And obviously, like, we were trying to, especially when rates went up, we were trying to keep as many people conventional as possible, because, people weren't getting their offers accepted.
You're just gonna have to get way more creative now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things.
Well, sellers are gonna become more
I
desperate.
wouldn't say that we're seeing
Buyers are gonna get
that. I
creative.
wouldn't see we're seeing that so much. Here's the issue with those, right? With the pre-commitments, like doing the full-blown pre-approval, the issue with those is by the time that those get issued, the house is gone. Like, that's what we've been finding, because you need like 3 or 4 days to get through underwriting, get all their documents, order everything the right way. And by the time it gets to underwriting, the house they looked at is gone 3 days later.
So it can't be like subject to just a open.
Yeah,
House specific.
It could be, yeah, I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's something you can definitely do, like, we 100% can still do it, so you can get it ready for a
Are you talking
prospective
about
house.
commitment letter?
Yeah, was that?
You talking about the commitment?
Yeah,
letter?
pre-commitment letter, like a full-blown pre-approval, we can still do that. I guess I haven't seen so many people needing them. It just seems to be like first come, first serve, whoever's the highest amount. Like, that's what I'm seeing and who's got the best terms. But you guys would know that term, you know.
I like commitment letters, but it's only when I'm going up against like the 30 offers and I'll use them.
Yeah.
It was like 5 or 6, like.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
But I mean, yeah, in terms of like the cash guarantee, that's been huge.
That's huge.
That's been huge with anybody that's already put 20% down. We see a lot of people sign off on that. And, you know, because at this point, people that are, well, up until now, I guess you would say, people who are buying, you know, out there buying houses, they're like, they find the house, like, this is the house, I'll do whatever it takes because they can't find other houses, you know?
General question about renting back, so the seller who's gonna be selling, but if we get an offer as a conventional mortgage, don't they have to like move in within 60 days?
60 days, yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, so 60 days and rent back's fine as long as they vacate in 60 days.
What do you mean?
Who really takes care of that? So I know it's mortgage fraud, I'm not condoning.
You're right, you're right, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't really know who's keeping track of it. But at closing, they will request something, like for instance, I'll give you an example, right? So I had somebody buying a 2-family house, right? And both of the units were rented, but the person was buying it as their primary residence. So what they conditioned for is that they need to give either one of the tenants a notice to vacate, right? Because the person needs to be able to move in one of the units if they're buying it as their primary residence within 60 days of closing. So all they had to show was that they issued a notice of vacate to the tenant. Who the hell follows up after closing? Me, that's all I know. So I don't know, you know.
So you're saying after closing, they only get, well, it's 59, 60 days for them
Yeah.
to, for the person doing the rent back. has to have.
Totally, yeah. And like, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if it's that. But as long as they have the documentation required to get it closed, when it needs to be closed, then pretty much everything. So,
Just, any lender?
yeah, I mean, from what I've seen,
General.
yeah, they need to provide a notice to vacate if it's a 60, if it's a, well, no, rent back's different. Rent back's different, as long as they sign something saying it'll be out in 60 days.
Is it on any program though, like the conventional FHA?
Yeah,
And it's mainly homeowners insurance, they can't do that, or is it you, like the lender?
well, no, it's the lender, but the homeowner's insurance is a good point, because they have to change their homeowner's insurance, right, from a renter's policy to an owner's policy typically. That's if they're moving into a multi-family home that they're initially having it rented out and moving in, but most of the time we just have to get, you know, an owner's.
Do you think reasonable, we have 6 residents here?
So probably about a month ago, we were projecting that they would be in the mid-6s, possibly up to 7, but I don't know if that's gonna happen anymore. The problem with the rate environment is that so many things can change it, like so many things, you know, for instance, like when Russia and Ukraine happened, right? Like that was in the middle of rates going up, and then like all of a sudden we kind of paused for a little bit, stayed at a leveled out area. Like whenever there's turmoil and stuff like that, it depends on a lot of other outside factors, but what they are telling us is that they should be over 6 by the end of the year, but I don't know, like for years they were saying the rates are gonna go up, the rates are gonna go up, the rates are gonna go up, they kept going down. It's like, okay, and you know, inflation's another big issue, right? So what's going on with, you know, inflation being bad right now, you'll still see rates go up, but I don't know, I would project myself personally by the end of the year, them to be around 6 at the highest. I think we're kind of paused right now, at least that's the way it seems. And every bit of information we've been given is that initial jump was the initial jump, and now we'll see if anything a steady crawl. So it won't be anything hugely drastic, but
How many buyers do you think got knocked out of the game?
probably a good percentage of them, because, you know, you have people, lenders that are qualifying people all the way to their absolute maximum, you know, which is fine, we can do that, but like rate changes here or there, you know, it makes things really challenging. One thing that we do a lot though is we'll rework the file and see if we can find other sources of income. We'll try to figure out, like, say they just need to pay off a credit card, you know, so they got $500 on a credit card, that's a $70 a month payment. And that little you know, the rate hike and that payment and stuff offset each other. So it would be like, okay, for $500, you pay this off, now your debt ratio qualify again.
Right.
So it really just depends on how creative you are. But at the same time, yes, I have seen a lot of people get knocked out because, you know, depending on the purchase price of the home, the difference between 3.5% and 5.5% make a lot of difference in the payment if you're, you know, $400,000 or $500,000 more,
Yeah.
you know, so.
I refinanced my house just in time.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I miss it. Well, my primary residence is low.
275.
Oh.
I like that.
Still, you're loving that now. Yes, I was gonna refinance my investment property. I was gonna sell it or I'm gonna refinance it, and I waited on refinancing it, and I'll still have it. And now the rates are like 6%, something like that, no.
You guys can't do anything like commercially, like someone that's not their primary resident.
No, I mean, yeah, I can do investment properties as long as it's 4 units or under.
So like they own like, let's say 3 of them that are like doubles and they want to pull credit and buy something else.
Yeah, that's
Can you
fine.
guys do that?
We can do up to 10, we can hold up to 10 more, including the one we're doing. So that's gonna be a lender issue, yeah, so some certain lenders will say 4, some will say 6, we can do to the guidelines, which the guidelines say 10. So 10 total, when I was at KeyBank, that's what they used to tell me, and I thought, back then, I thought, oh, this is the rule, you know, and I remember going up.
But on a mortgage, like a line of credit, you want to pull equity and buy something
Yeah,
else.
they can do a cash out refinance, we can't do a home equity, they have to do a home equity to the bank, but we can do a cash out refinance on the investment property, yes.
Not on a residential, on their investment property. You don't want to pull from this residential, pull from the residential.
Yeah, from the investment property, as long as it's a residential zone property, so if it's 4 units or below, yeah, they can cash out on it. Yeah, we do everything from, you know, purchase refinance, whether it's single family, all the way up to 4 units, whether it's primary residence, investment property, whatever.
Yeah, no judgment, I took it all one.
I'm happy you're eating. Let's
I'm
go.
great. No, it's just great. All the time, like, yeah.
Yeah, see, there you go, that's how, man, the cookies are mine.
All right, so we're probably should find some other here.
Yeah, I mean, if you need anything, you let me know. If you guys have questions, outside of this, you know, feel free to reach out to me. My information's on all those flyers I gave you guys. And yeah, if you want to set up that marketing meeting, with Gerald Swanson, just shoot me an email and then I'll connect you guys. And usually I sit in with the marketing meeting too. Sometimes it depends on the, you know, the day if I have a bunch of stuff going on, but I'll always make sure to get to sit in with Swanson.
Yeah, he came and presented to us a little bit for a couple of years now, but I
Yeah.
think somebody's been going on.
Yeah, in person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now like since Zoom.
The pre-mortgage finder from back in the day, you know about this? So finder.
Of all this stuff, yeah.
Yeah, of all
Well,
the samples.
what do you
Sent
think?
you Perry.
We have like a
What's his
booklet,
name?
Terry, is it the one that's not a binder? We just have like a booklet that's staples and it's like all the stuff in there.
all the things he wants to pull.
Cash out of his investment.
And I, and he's kind of.
Why is he getting issues?
Well, he's kind of weird too.
Okay.
It could be like a
Yeah.
communication problem too.
Sure,
But he is a retired teacher while with PAP,
gotcha.
and that's, you know, that's my COI, that's what I usually deal with, and he's just super silly.
Okay.
But he's got money,
Fine with me.
so.
We are having a whistle for my class here.
I thought I saw something or heard something about that. That's
I already
amazing.
got mine done.
Maybe better.
Right? That's awesome. Oh, Walter.
Walter, you've been drinking at every event, you are 21.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
22.
I'm out now.
Oh, Rory knows.
You can come if you want.
When is it? This weekend?
This guy.
Okay. I'll see you. It's in the morning?
I don't know if I can come yet.
Okay. Then it's like, that's, I think, when did you guys call? I forgot.
Yeah, you should.
Somebody called me, one of you guys called me for this and I was at my buddy's bachelor party. I remember. I was like, yeah, I'll be there.
We're also having a chicken barbecue on the
Yeah.
23rd. If you'd like to come get some chicken for
Very
the fundraiser.
What is it here?
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember we did like, when you guys first moved here, we did like couple of your appreciation parties with Park Lawn.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys had an awesome band one time.
Yeah, we did every year.
I was like, damn, like, you got a legit band. It was like not a joke. Yes, the bounce houses, bass band. Bass band, I remember that as well.
And COVID happened. I
Yeah,
know.
COVID ruined everything.
Well, the chicken barbecue is really fun too. We had a good time. We have music playing. We sold out in an hour and a half last
Did you
year.
really?
We ordered more this year.
It was a legit party.
It was awesome, yeah. Cars were like lighted up.
Oh, I love it. Well, I mean, it's good to see you guys all doing well too. Yeah,
You too.
yeah, it's trying. Yeah, but like you said, COVID like put a weird.
But everything.
It was
And
just
all
odd.
these mass shootings.
Yeah.
I literally went to Delaware Park today and I was just like, I'm weirded out by being here. And like, am I ever gonna get like someone shoot me?
Yeah, well, I'm
But then,
freaked
like,
out. Yeah.
There was like a shooting over there, in Chicago too.
Yeah.
But just like someone drove by and just randomly shot with a car. Man. Yeah, 2 days ago or yesterday.
There's a stabbing over there.
No, that was in Airport Boulevard. There was a stabbing in Chihuahua. Yeah. Everyone just stab and shoot. Like, what the
It's
heck?
crazy.
I
I just went and
maybe
picked
back
up this
there.
food and like I don't know if these are like security guards, but they had a guy in a Wegmans pickup truck, a black pickup truck. No sirens or, whatever on it, but he was like driving around and I parked right up front because I wanted to pick up this stuff and go. I got in there and there was an issue of order, so I'm like, okay, you guys can get me what I need right now so I can leave. So I came out and there was this guy in a black Wegmans pickup truck. He's like, I need to speak to you. And I just got on there and left. I was like, I don't know who that was guy. Like,
You don't need to
now I'm
know.
thinking,
You
like,
don't need to speak to me.
my whole ride here, I'm like, is that guy like an off-duty cop or something? Like,
Probably.
am I getting pulled over on the way home? But it was like, yeah, you never know these days. It's scary. And like when COVID happened, it was just nuts because like all of a sudden it was just like you're doing things every week and every weekend. And now there's nothing. And it was weird just working from my house for like a year.
Yeah. It was like awesome.
Boring,
But
huh?
weird too. It was like awesome. Yeah.
Mhm. And then everybody tried to like do things again, and then everybody's like,
Then everyone got sick.
you gotta shut that back down. Now I think people have realized we're just gonna have to deal with this COVID thing for pretty much ever. Vaccinated.
Yeah, make sure it's.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Like I said, call me if you guys need anything. I'll leave this stuff with you guys. Keep it, bring it
Make us
home.
so.
Keep it, bring it home. Yeah, I'll take it.
Adam.
Yes. How you doing? Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
finally.
I know.
How are you?
Good, good.
I was just talking about all the marketing stuff that we.
I know, I just saw that in the forum, I'm like, oh my god, he was the presenter today. I'm like, go figure. I had
Here.
every intention of being here, but I was running late and
That's all right.
I
So
didn't
here.
want to come in halfway through.
This
so.
is kind of like a breakdown, like of all the different things we do both sides.
Okay.
But what I wanted to do for you was have you do like our marketing director, Jerry Swanson. He does like half hours in the meeting. It would be a meeting. It's not free, you do like all the different things you can do. Because there are some things like most of them are free, the only things you pay for is.
I mean, there might be a-
Which I would split that. And I know it's like the basis of what you know.
Yeah, actually, Jeff did like a model.
Yeah.
That I wanted to do, and she set up a flyer, and she did one side and the other side, I figured.
Which is what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I think that's gonna be the best. Just let's do that in the next one, so we can see all the different things that we can do for you. And you just pick and choose what you want to do. And you can do it at any time. Basically, what happens is, say we're putting on about something, you just email marketing, copy me on it,
Okay.
and then we'll immediately say, okay.
Could you tell me I
I
can
know
buy
what
it
all
up,
the
like,
updates for you.
fridge?
See what the points look like, so then I did it, any way you want, but the advantage you have about being here is that everything marks off stuff, right? And send that over, and then we can make our adjustments to it if we want, but nothing gets sent to print unless you sign off.